About it on, they said there was, it had a population of 5,000 people, and they had riveters and guys at the forge, and they built scaffolds, picked these rivets up, and they put them in, and they had a left-handed riveter and right-handed riveter, and one man with a buckling bar on the inside, and they buck those big rivets together. They all put up with hot rivets, and it's quite a tough town right at that time. I think a lot of them tankies that they call them tankies, and they was a pretty rough bunch of people. But the oil boom was the main thing that brought the, Dad didn't work in the tank farm. He worked in the oil boom.
Mm-hmm.
So the only thing I know about, I remember the tank farm. Remember when they tore it down. Knew the man that was in charge of it when they tore it down. But they'd had some big fires in that tank farm. At one time they had 2 tanks on fire at one time. And Dad told me that lightning hit those tanks. The gas coming off from the lightning storm, it hit the tanks and catch them afire.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen the old cannon, I think I've got a cannonball right here now, that they'd back off and take a cannon, they could shoot several holes in that tank down below the oil, and they'd all drain out into what they call a fire dike. They get about 2/3 oil. They had all a drain system where it drained to a low point. They'd run out. That's what them fire dikes run them things where they had a pipe in there, and they just shoot holes in there. They'd pour out. They told me it took about 24 hours for that tank to boil over, and then they had to cut the oil off and let it burn.
Huh.
It'd boil over in about 24 hours, but they get about 2/3 of a tank whenever he'd catch on fire. They'd shoot this 4-inch cannonballs through that tank, and they get most of it. They'd drain out a lot of that oil.
Well, did they try to save that oil, or did they just burn the oil?
No, when it boiled over, they had to let that burn. But what they took it down to, we down by the railroad bridge, that pump station, and they pumped it into another tank.
So they did save it.
They did save some of it.
Yeah, they saved about 2/3 of it.
Wow.
But there's 2 of them on fire at one time. There's a picture right here someplace. 2 of them are burning at one time.
Hmm. How many tanks were in that farm? Do you have any idea?
How many tanks were there?
It seemed me like there was around 50 or 60 of them in the 2 tank
Wow.
farm.
That was
Biggest
large.
tank farm in the world at one time. When I started school, it's the richest school district in the world. Down here in Terlton.
So
the taxes off them big, all that oil.
you went to school in that school, right?
You went to school down here?
I was trying to go down there a little while.
What years?
What year did you start the school?
Well, I don't know. Can't remember that. I can remember some things that happened, but
Okay, tell me about some things that happened.
well,
Sure.
I guess in my first year in school, got up one morning. I guess it's the coldest morning Oklahoma's ever had. And that was in the early 30s, and of course we didn't have any decent clothes to wear. So they got me an old big coat and told me they had an old school bus. It didn't have windows in it like they have now. You had side curtains down there, and the
Oh, uh-huh.
board, you sat on the board, there was benches inside. It little bitty thing, wasn't much bigger than a pickup. She told me just to walk on. Said when he come by, he'll pick you up. I started down the road, and of course there's a high wind out of the north. I believe it's 16 below that morning, if I remember right. And one south downtown made it all right and started up the street. There used to be all solid buildings up through there. The wind, that kind of kept the wind off from there. Started up, got up to school and started north, got about halfway up to the gate, and the boys told me afterwards, it's 2 boys, high school boys, they all saved me that morning. They said I just put my hand on the fence and just started down, and when I hit the ground, they grabbed you up, and my lungs and froze off. When I hit facing that north wind, they rushed me in, and the teacher jerked on my clothes off and got a hot tub of water and put me in water, and they worked with me. And after they finally, I was all right. They just, after I got to breathing, I was all right, but they didn't know it. And then they started in trying to get that old school bus started to get me home. It was about 2 o'clock before they got me home. They had to heat water and get the old bus. Finally got it going in, it froze solid. They got me home. I know Dad, Mom, and my mother, they was having troubles in here. That was one of them bad years, and and some of the cows' tits froze off that morning. It was
That cold.
Mama tried to milk the cow, and the tits is froze. No, they had an awful time. But then they said they'd know it was too cold after they got out. Of course, he didn't get out. They got up and built a fire in the old wood stove and fixed breakfast. Of course, it was warm. Dad didn't know it was that cold outside, or he wouldn't have sent me.
Yeah. Okay. What else sticks out in your mind about your school days?
Well, I used to when I got up about about the second or third grade, I went trying to catch possums and skunks for making me some money. And the teacher would run me out every time I catch a skunk.
But he wasn't the only one
I
that
just come
came to
home
school
with big
that
skunk
way.
dens out.
He wasn't the only one that, where I went to school at Mound Valley, the boys came the same way and they'd send them back home.
That used to be a good business among kids, catching
Oh,
possums
yes.
and skunks.
How much did you get for a pelt?
How much did you get for a pelt?
25 cents for a possum, $1 for a skunk. That's what the average. The little possum I get 20 cents for, and the big possum I get 30 cents. But they figured 25 cents. Usually a buyer come through the country and bought them. So they give you 25 cents for your possum and $1 for your skunk. And sivey cats was, I think, 75 cents.
What's a sivey cat?
A sivey cat, we don't have them anymore. I used to catch 2 or 3 or 4 every winter. They're a little bitty skunk and they're real spotted. They're a small skunk.
They're a small species of a skunk.
The small species of they're thin.
But you don't hear of them very often. I don't even see them anymore, you know, on the
I haven't
road.
seen one in 30 years. They're a little bitty. They're bigger than a rat, but about like a squirrel.
Huh.
And they're real,
I've never heard
real
of them.
speckled. They're just real speckled. I haven't seen one of them in years, but we used to. And then I know one year, out up north there, but farm along the side of the road, there's big grass. What's a brush you took it now mostly. But them sivey cats is prairie dwellers. They stayed on the prairie and they den in them big grass between the fence, the field and the road. And if evening you go up there and them old sivey cats, it wouldn't be all that long out there with
Little
following
bitty
old
ones.
mother around along the cute little things.
Yeah.
And the other thing we've lost is the ground squirrel. I never see a ground squirrel anymore.
Yeah. I don't recall having seen any either.
Well, they're chipmunks, what
Yeah.
they are.
You can go to Colorado and places and still
You
see.
can still see them, but you don't see them
Not here. Yeah.
I don't remember seeing a ground squirrel in 10 years, don't guess.
No, and I haven't seen flying squirrels either in several years, and we used to have them.
Yes. You want to tell me how you tanned your pelts?
How did you take care of your skunk and possum hides?
I had to skin them and stretch them and put them on a board, tack them down on a board.
Well, did you turn them wrong side out?
Huh?
Did
Turn
you-
them wrong side